So I've been locking my phone in a lockbox like this for about 6 years now. And I've experienced some tremendous benefits from doing this, from making this choice. And I'm going to introduce you today to a term that I haven't heard anybody else use, and it's phone freedom. The art of using your phone and not letting it use you. Long and short of it is, I lock this thing up for most hours of the day. Okay. So I put my phone in this lockbox. And so let me just start with how I got here. I spoke at great lengths in my monk mode video about my history with clinical depression and anxiety. And I said about 12 years ago, I sold my television set. And that was during a depressive episode where I was just basically rotting in front of a couch. And I didn't realize how many days I'd been watching 6 Feet Under, but the finale of 6 Feet Under came and the end credits were rolling on the screen. And I was like, wow, I have no idea how long I've been watching this. Sold my TV and my life got immensely better. So much better. I haven't had a television since then, and my life has greatly improved. In my spiritual awakening, which happened in 2016, basically my spiritual awakening was really simple. I came to the realization that the only way that I was going to experience peace and joy in my life was for me to actively choose peace and joy. This little device was chipping into my joy and my peace in a way that was not subtle. It started to become overt. So I noticed things like I wasn't able to be in the present moment as deeply as I typically am. I wasn't able to have conversations and be fully present, which is something I'm very good at. I'm very good at really caring and listening to what other people are saying. It was also greatly impacting my mental health. So I was already way past clinical depression and anxiety by 6 years ago. But mental health isn't just about waking up and being super joyful. For me, mental health means lucidity, executive function to, attention span, reading, comprehension. All these things to me equate to mental health, mental fitness. And I noticed that the device was having an impact on my mental health and mental fitness. And so I came to what I'm about to show you and we're going to go into. I kind of bootstrapped my own little phone freedom situation. Hey, it's Brenda from the future, and I'm just showing you this in real time. So it's Saturday evening. It's around 7:04 p.m. on Saturday. Tomorrow's Mother's Day. So I'm going to leave my phone locked in the box, not for a full 24 or 48 hours. I'm just going to lock it in here for, let's call it 15 hours. And what happens is my mind doesn't do this anymore because I've been doing this for 6 years. But your mind, let's say on a Friday night, you say, I'm going to lock my phone up for Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Let's say you do a 3-day lockup. Those are really nice to do. Let's say you put it in the box. You set it for 3 days. Your mind is going to give you all kinds of situations, excuses, freakouts, reasons you shouldn't do it. It's going to say, wait, but what about? And all of them are pretty much null and void. We've gone millions of years without it. And so when I first did this, my mind was like, what about music? And it's like, it's fine. There's a radio. Or what about the music at the gym? I do like working out with my music at the gym, but there are some days on the weekends, especially when I lock this thing up for multiple days, where I'm just listening to whatever music is on the speaker, and that's fine. What about if somebody needs to get a hold of me? I'm not the president of the United States. I don't have the nuclear codes. There's nothing that important that people need to be able to get to me every minute of every day. It's very important for us, all of us, to reclaim our sovereignty. And when we leave ourselves open to being dinged at and notified and text messaged and voicemailed and called and all of this stuff at any hour of the day,
that's not healthy for our brain chemistry or our nervous systems. I just can't stand it. When I first started doing this, my mind would freak out and it would say, but what about, what about, what about? Now at this point, I'm so excited to get these things in here. I've got two phones. I've got my business phone and my personal phone. And I'm so excited and I got them plugged into a charger cord. I'm so excited to get my phones in here and to not be connected to all the noise. Does this mean I'm not going to be going out anywhere or doing anything? No, it just means I'm not going to have my phone on my person. And if I need to make a call, I'll make one from my laptop with Google Voice. If family needs to get a hold of me, they can get to me on my laptop with FaceTime on my laptop. And so it gives a little countdown timer, 3, 2, 1, and then it makes a noise. And that's the noise of freedom. That's the noise of this box locking out the outside world.
But before we jump into the protocol, I wanted to also talk about some of the benefits that you could experience from doing this. I put on this list all the things that I've experienced because I didn't want this being me telling you what you should do. The first one, like I said, is better mental health. There are some studies that show that excessive scrolling is leading to early neurodegeneration, reduced attention span, depression, anxiety, so on and so forth. This isn't groundbreaking. I'm not sitting here again like Andrew Huberman, like delivering some groundbreaking news, but I experienced increased mental health. Over the last 6 years, I've learned more than I've ever learned in my 20s, as in my brain feels more nimble now. You know, I've learned all kinds of coding skills, video production, somatics, yoga certifications, meditation teacher training, which leads me to the next point, which is increased time in your day. The way that I experience a day unfolding, it is so different when I'm not scrolling than when I am scrolling. So when I'm scrolling, the day just flies by and there's a sense of pressure and anxiety that I just can't quite describe. There's like this feeling like a looming deadline, even if I don't have any deadlines happening, and it feels like it's ever present and ever close, closing in on me closer and closer. And I think what that is the subconscious mind saying, get the hell off of this thing. We've got a life to live. And so anyway, what I found is my days feel more eternal. If you think about it, when you're in the present moment here and now, you're actually in the eternal. And though we are still subject to time, as in clock time, the way that we experience our lives is greatly dictated by the level of our consciousness and attention span. So if you're feeling at all like you don't have enough time in the day, you might want to think about locking your phone up for multiple hours per day, and sometimes for multiple days out of the week. Improved sleep. When I'm consuming way too much content, I'll close my eyes at the end of the day. And it's just a litany of like, you know, full confession, I love Luna, the crunchy cat. At the end of the day, you're closing your eyes and you got Luna, the crunchy cat, like crunching on her kibble. And it's like, I just want a peaceful, you know, empty slate on my brain. You'll find that when you close your eyes and your head hits the pillow, your mind is more peaceful. And that's like the perfect runway to getting a beautiful night's sleep. Many people turn to scrolling because they're avoiding their feelings. And almost any therapist worth their weight will tell you that you have to actually process your emotions. When I started locking my phone up for extended periods of time, I had a 2-year mental diet where I did this for 2 years. I went over that in this video. 2 years of no input. What I found was at first, my emotions, there's a lot of emotions that I was not dealing with. This is even after not having a television for many years. This is even after spiritual awakening. This is even after having a pretty deep meditation process. All these little moments of turning to the phone and scrolling for, you know, I don't know, 30 minutes here, whatever, an hour there. even if it's only a few times a week, I was finding it held me back in processing my emotions. So I had this big backlog of emotions that were just kind of waiting to be felt. So when I stopped scrolling and I took that 2-year just abstaining from it, there are so many emotions, and they were coming out like little, I don't know, like little bats out of, if any of you guys have been to Austin, there's bats here in bat caves. They're all over the city. Little bats fly out at sunset. And so anyway, it was like little bats coming. And I was like, oh, anger. Like, whoa. I actually was surprised to find that I had a pretty big backlog of anger and rage in my system. And anyway, it didn't take all that long to get those emotions out. It was maybe like a week or two of just really being with my emotions. So at first, you feel like you're wearing 2 left shoes. You're going to reach for a phone because that's like a tic that we all have. And then you don't have the phone to reach to. And it's like, oh, the reason that I was reaching for my phone all the time was because there's something here I don't want to be feeling. Interesting. Now I have to feel it. So let's feel it. And then emotions, energy and motions, it gets processed and it's and you feel a level lighter. It's like peeling an onion and peeling an onion and peeling an onion until eventually I got to a point where I was fine to have the device. But that leads me to the next part of this video, which is, are you really that weak that you need to be locking the phone up every day? And my answer to you, my friend, is it's not about willpower. It's about the fact that my mind, the way that my mind is, especially when I'm in a season of really intense work, which I am right now, it's such that it comes up with these little excuses. And it says things like, oh, we could just check that one email. Oh, we could just check that one thing. Oh, it's like 11 o'clock and my mind all of a sudden thinks, you know what's really important right now? We got to Google that thing. We got to Google, I don't know, insert pointless thing to look up here. Do otters mate permanently? Do they stay together permanently? What are those purple birds outside the window that I see all the time? P.S. There are purple martins outside my window and they are so beautiful. I don't need to know these things, but my mind convinces me that it's so very important to look things up, and I get down rabbit holes. And then next thing I know, it's 2 a.m. and my eyes hurt and I have this feeling that I want to just do one more video. So it's just like having a 5-year-old and saying, do you want one more cookie? And the 5-year-old's going to say yes. And then you leave a plate of cookies and it's an infinite amount of cookies. The 5-year-old is going to say yes, 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 until the stomach hurts. And that's kind of how my mind is with input and stimuli. And that's because that's the nature of the mind. When I put my phone in the lockbox and it's locked, and I set it on the powerful setting of that I can't get it out of there, my mind stops bothering me about looking things up. I would love somebody to intervene at 10:30 in the evening and say, why is it so important that you look up the We Want Plates subreddit on Reddit? Why? Why is that so important? You know what I mean? Why? Or just any rabbit hole. Any rabbit hole. You can get me down any rabbit hole. And now I have a co-pilot that I'm going to be introducing into this episode to back me up. And this is Dr. David Hawkins. And this is his book, Power versus Force. This is a beautiful summation of basically what all the great mystics and teachers and even scientists have been saying for eons. And it's essentially that the level of your consciousness will dictate the outer world that you experience. So if we sit here and try to play whack-a-mole with every single area of our lives, trying to do the perfect diet, trying to do the perfect workout routine, trying to do the perfect business plan, trying to do the perfect marketing, trying to do the perfect YouTube videos, trying to do everything perfect out here and expecting a different result, doesn't work like that. I don't know how many of you have experienced this, but in my early 20s, before my journey, before this inner journey, I was working my butt off, trying. And I would come up on the same patterns over and over again. And that was because I had not yet made peace and joy the number one priority in my life. When I made peace and joy the number one priority in my life, the level of my consciousness went so high, so much higher, and I had to work so much less on every area of my life. And that was a direct reflection of the level of my consciousness. When you're intaking stuff on this device and excessively scrolling and opening your mind to the collective consciousness, which is probably calibrating very low, if we're being honest, your consciousness gets low. When we lift the level of our consciousness, the quality of everything in our life changes. So just a quick quote from the beautiful Dr. David Hawkins: to transcend the limitations of the mind, it is necessary to dethrone it from its tyranny as sole arbiter of reality. The mind's very nature is to convince us that its unique view of experience is the genuine article. In other words, when we stop abiding in all the junk of our minds, and when we stop believing our thoughts, and when we stop gluing ourselves into the collective consciousness, we transcend into the I am that I am, the truth, the capital T truth. Dr. Hawkins goes on to say, we never lose the innate innocence of our consciousness. It persists, naive and trusting, like an impressionable child. Its only guardian is a discerning awareness that scrutinizes the incoming programming. Now, we have to be very careful. Like Dr. David Hawkins is saying there, the consciousness that is the I am that I am, the awareness, it's perfect, it's pristine. And we as, human beings, we have to make sure that we're being careful about what we're letting in here. What he says in this book is that the map of consciousness, all the way from fear and anger and pity and depression and grief and sadness and all these negative things, to get up to the level of enlightenment and joy and love and peace, it requires but just a choice, and then being consciously choosing things that keep us in those frameworks, in those mind states as much as possible. When we devote ourselves to those ways of being, we start to feel so much better.
This is a world dominated by the ego. To transcend the gravity of the ego is extraordinarily difficult. In fact, without higher truth, it's not possible. So one is dedicated to reaching the highest truth, or one genuflects to the ego. And that decision is what makes the difference in calibrated levels of truth.
You're a millennial, probably. That's according to the stats. And so many of us have gone the last almost 3 decades of our lives, no, maybe more like two decades of our lives, with being glued in and scrolling every day for the last 2 decades. So I know that it sounds kind of far-fetched to say this could probably make your whole life so much better. It sounds like a tall order, but the reason that it sounds like a tall order and it sounds so unrealistic is because you haven't yet experienced it for yourself. So it could be, my friend, dear listener, that one little thing, this one not so little thing, this one big thing could be a catalyst to solving almost every problem that you have in your life via elevating your consciousness. Okay, it could and probably will increase your health, increase your mood, increase your clarity, help you to grow your income, help you to improve your marketing, help you to improve your relationships, your connection, and most of all, this is a big one. I'm going to throw this in there. Also, help you to see the world around you as beautiful, as stunning. I'm going to give you the protocol in 1 second, but I just want to throw in here. I didn't really fully see trees, for instance, before I actually let go of letting my mind be constantly distracted all the time. Now I see trees in a whole different way. I can't quite explain what I mean, but I'm pretty sure you'll understand what I mean on day 4 or 3 of a mental fast of locking your phone away. trees aren't just like concepts. Trees are actually like these beautiful things with like there's glowing edges around them. They're just stunning to me. So you're going to see your world with such a clear lens, and the world seen with such a clear lens is a beautiful world. So that's kind of my soft pitch to you. Don't believe a word I say. These are some things that you'll probably experience, but try it for yourself, which leads me to how are we going to do this? What is the protocol? Protocol step number 1, lock your phone during the beginning and end of your day. I like the Mindsight box. The reason I like the Mindsight box is because it has 2 of these little holes back here that you can put your charger cords in. It also has an unlock feature and it has a mega lock feature. So the unlock feature means you can put it in there and set a timer for any amount of days, hours, or minutes. And then you can set it so that you're able to get your phone out if you want. So let's say, for instance, you have some work to do and you might need to make a phone call in the afternoon, but you're not sure. You can put your phone in here so that you can just focus. But I also really like it because there's this little button that's got like a shield on it. And this shield button means you can't open it. So this is really good for evening scroll prevention. Okay, so lock your phone up in the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. This is big. Choose 4 days per week that are 100% free of any content consumption. Maybe you could go down to 2 days a week. Just pick a couple days during your week that you're not going to be using your phone at all, that you have it locked up. And then lastly, choose one hobby, skill, or topic per month that you're excited to master. So this is something like, for me, I really enjoy every month kind of digging into learning something new or practicing something new. I've been doing this for a really long time. I'll pick something new to master or practice or just mess around with. I'll get really into, for instance, slacklining or paddle boarding. So whatever it is for you, maybe knitting, doing some kind of art project, when you have something to take your mind off of scrolling and you start getting into something else, your life becomes so much richer and your brain chemistry will benefit in a huge way. So let's talk about helpful tools. I'm going to give you some tools that are going to help you with phone freedom. So tool number 1 I'm going to offer is the Dumb Phone app. So this is an app that gets rid of all those candy-coated apps, and all you see on your home screen is the basic words of the apps that you really want to use that are important. This helps you to basically stop getting like a dopamine association with your phone. The second tool that I'm going to offer is the Screen Zen app. So the Screen Zen app is an app that you can use to choose which apps you're going to allow yourself to use and for how long. So you can set time limits. Let's say I'll allow 5 minutes of Instagram per day or whatever. This is helpful so that when your phone's not locked in the box, you're not tempted to overdo it and over scroll. The next tool is the Bluetooth home telephone, something like the Panasonic Link to Cell, but I'm actually using Google Voice. So if there's ever a time where I need to make a call and I don't have my phone, it's in the lockbox, and I'll just use Google Voice. Google Voice is free. It's fine. It's on my laptop. So basically what I use my phone for is I use it for Spotify because I love Spotify. I use it at the gym. I'm using Spotify pretty much every day when I go to the gym. I don't use my phone on walks. So if I go for a walk, I like to not have my phone on me. I like to just listen to the leaves the wind blowing through the leaves. Every so often, I might take an audiobook with me on a walk, but most of the time I'm phone free on my walks. I also really do enjoy YouTube. So I like taking in YouTube videos, and I have, a couple select channels that I really do enjoy. And then I have some throwaway entertainment channels that I really do enjoy, like Luna the Crunchy Cat. I've mentioned her a few times. She's like a co-star of this video. She's not sponsored by Luna the Crunchy Cat. And Waffles the Grumpy Cat.
Oh my.
I don't even own cats. I'm definitely more of a dog person, but I do like watching cat videos on YouTube. I also have my select teachers and guides people like Eckhart Tolle, and I do love listening to Dr. David Hawkins. And then there's some other just beautiful teachers and leaders that aren't coming to mind right now, but that I do enjoy listening to. But I make sure that, like I said, I have many days throughout my week where I'm not taking in anything. I'm locking my phone up for sometimes multiple days at a time so that I can just be really deeply in the here and now. And so that's how I kind of make this work for me. And what ends up happening is then I'm using my phone and it's not using me. Which brings me to the last part of this video, and that is stepping into creator role. So it's obviously no secret that I'm sitting here on social media. I do consider YouTube kind of like a hybrid. It's kind of an education platform. It's a video media platform, and it's kind of social media all wrapped into one. But I personally love being on YouTube. I do love consuming YouTube. And the way that I've used these things throughout my life is that I'm using these things, not the other way around. And so that's why I think it's really important for all of us to step into a creator role. And that's why I'm hosting a 5-day YouTube breakthrough challenge, by the way. So if you want something to do as you're fasting from your phone, as you're changing up your habits, you can come join me for the 5-day YouTube breakthrough challenge. In the last monk mode video, a couple people were like, I wonder how she feels about the fact that she's still posting on YouTube. And isn't that a contradiction? And to that, I say, absolutely not. We live in a really cool time where we have the ability to share the light and the love that's in our hearts with the world. And there are so many gifted and beautiful teachers out there who can make this whole experience way better. And if we're not getting out here on YouTube, sharing the light and sharing the love and joy and good, healthy practices, then what's left over is the doom and gloom and the worry and the fear and the fighting and the chaos. There's lots of that on YouTube too. So what I consider it as, I like to think of the work that I do as like a kind of a white blood cell. And what I really think is important right now is that all the beautiful teachers and leaders like you, we all kind of step up and bravely step onto YouTube if you feel called. If you really have a gift and a message to share with the world and you want to give your heart to the world and use this tool, YouTube, to grow your business online, this is a really great opportunity. So come and join me for the 5-day YouTube breakthrough challenge so that you can grow your business via YouTube and so that you can get your first video up on YouTube. If you already have a YouTube channel, by the way, this is still a really good option because I'll take you through what I call my breakthrough framework. So it's a 5-day experience where we're actually going to be taking you through start to finish making a YouTube video. By the end of it, you leave with a YouTube video that you can publish on YouTube if you'd like. Last time we did the YouTube Breakthrough Challenge, it was amazing. And seats are going to fill up super fast. So make sure you get your tickets now at brendaturner.com/YT. And if you want any more information about making your next YouTube video, you can go to the unscripting video that I did right here, where I walk you through step by step how to script your YouTube videos. Check that out here.